بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, many of us recite Surah Al-Kahf every single week. There are many different lessons in the surah. There are many different lessons that the scholars have derived. Inshallah, today I want to touch on one extremely important lesson, and that is the lesson of learning how to accompany those who are pious. The importance of having good friends, the importance of having good companions. Allah Jalla wa Ala makes mention of many stories in Surah Al-Kahf. He begins with the story of the people of the cave themselves. Allah Jalla wa Ala makes mention. He says, نَحْنُ نَقُصُّ عَلَيْكَ نَبَأَهُمْ بِالْحَقِّ. We narrate to you their story, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And this is a true story. إِنَّهُمْ فِتْيَةٌ آمَنُوا بِرَبِّهِمْ وَزِدْنَاهُمْ هُدًى. These were a group of youngsters, a group of youth. They believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increased them in guidance. Notice how Allah Jalla wa Ala is speaking about a group of youngsters. That means that each and every single one of them had good companionship. They were in a group of those who were pious. Allah Jalla wa Ala then makes mention. He says, وَإِذِ اعْتَزَلْتُمُوهُمْ وَمَا يَعْبُدُونَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ فَأْوُوا إِلَى الْكَهْفِ يَنْشُرْ لَكُمْ رَبُّكُمْ مِنْ رَحْمَتِهِ وَيُهَيِّئْ لَكُمْ مِنْ أَمْرِكُمْ مِرْفَقًا. What did this group of youngsters do? They were in a community. The community disbelieved. The community were astray. The community had evil in it. So this group of youngsters, they decided to get together and leave this community. Where did they go? They retreated. They went out of the city and they sought refuge in a cave. The lesson that myself and yourselves can take from this is, look at how this group of people, this group of youngsters, they were in a community full of evil. What did they do? They fled for their deen and in order to preserve themselves. Where did they go? They went to a physical cave. At times, you may need to go to a metaphorical cave. What does that mean? You find that there's a lot of fitna in the circles you hang around with. So for example, you find youngsters going to meet or to play sport on the weekend, and there's a lot of bad company there. Stay far away from them. At times online, there are many different groups, there are many different avenues to reach a group of bad people. Stay far away from them. Boycott them, so to say, because Allah Jalla wa Ala will protect you. Remember, your deen is the most important thing. Look at how Allah Jalla wa Ala makes mention of the story of this group of youth. When we look at them, we could say that they knew each other quite well. Allah Jalla wa Ala then mentions another story. In fact, it's an order to the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah Jalla wa Ala says, وَاصْبِرْ نَفْسَكَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ رَبَّهُمْ بِالْغَدَاةِ وَالْعَشِيِّ يُرِيدُونَ وَجْهَهُ وَلَا تَعْدُ عَيْنَاكَ عَنْهُمْ. Addressing the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says, have patience with those who worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those who call out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala day and night, and do not let your eyesight wander away from them. It's mentioned that the kuffar of Quraysh, the disbelievers, those who were prominent in Quraysh, they told the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, they said, how can we accept this message? How can you come and sit with us when you have got poor people around you? You've got people who believed in your message, but they are considered from the lowest part of society. They don't have anything. And Allah Jalla wa Ala warns the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the best of creation. He's telling him that for you to be with the group who may be poor, who may be less prominent in society, is much better for you than to go to the kuffar of Quraysh, those who may have wealth and status, yet they disbelieve. What does this mean? This is showing us the importance of accompanying and being friends and having companionship from the group of those who are pious. You may have friends, at times others mock you. They say, you know what, you are accompanying those who go to the masjid. You are accompanying those who may be backwards. You are accompanying those who are only worried about their salah and their zakah. Wallahi, that is the best companionship. And this is the message to the best of creation, the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah says, وَلَا تَعْدُ عَيْنَاكَ عَنْهُمْ. Don't even let your eye wander away from these pious people. تُرِيدُ زِينَةَ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. Do you want the beauties of this world? وَلَا تُطِعْ مَنْ أَغْفَلْنَا قَلْبَهُ عَنْ ذِكْرِنَا وَاتَّبَعَ هَوَاهُ وَكَانَ أَمْرُهُ فُرُطًا. Don't be like those who obeyed and accompanied those who they went astray. They only followed their desire. At times you find that you have some sort of dealings with somebody who you may not see eye to eye on. So for example, they may be a non-Muslim, they may be from the Muslims, however, they are not that practicing, not that pious. In this situation, you've got to stick to your principles, because at times it happens where you have to interact with them. That's why we come to the next story. Allah Jalla wa Ala makes mention of two men. Allah says, وَاضْرِبْ لَهُمْ مَثَلَ الرَّجُلَيْنِ جَعَلْنَا لِأَحَدِهِمَا جَنَّتَيْنِ مِنْ أَعْنَابٍ وَحَفَفْنَاهُمَا بِنَخْلٍ وَجَعَلْنَا بَيْنَهُمَا زَرْعًا. One of them, we gave him gardens, we gave him wealth, we gave him crops, and his garden would give its fruit in full. كِلْتَ الْجَنَّتَيْنِ آتَتْ أُكُلَهَا وَلَمْ تَظْلِمْ مِنْهُ شَيْئًا وَفَجَّرْنَا خِلَالَهُمَا نَهَرًا. So, this man who had a lot of wealth, he had gardens, he had fruit, he had everything. What does he say? One day he says, فقال لصاحبه وهو يحاوره أنا أكثر منك مالا وأعز نفرا. You know what? He tells his companion, who was a pious person, he says, I have more wealth than you. I have a lot more than you. And in the verses coming after, he tells him, ما أظن أن تبيد هذه أبدا. I don't think I'll ever lose this wealth. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is informing us. He's telling us that this man who became arrogant, he actually had a companion who was pious. And this pious person told him, don't become arrogant and don't become haughty. And this is the job, or this is our job. You find that you accompany somebody, and for example, they want to miss their salah. They don't want to do good deeds. They want to carry out that which is evil. Your job in this position is to advise them, to give them the best of advice. Perform your salah. Be from those who are truthful. Do not do that which is evil. Because at the end of the day, if you don't, you will find yourself leaning towards this mischief and this evil doing. And we have mentioned the story of the man who had these two gardens. Eventually, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأُحِيطَ بِثَمَرِهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroyed all his wealth and all his gardens, and he started to raise his hands in despair, wishing that he did not commit shirk and wishing he did not disobey and displease Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Again, the lesson is for us. Stick to your principles. You may be in a community or in a situation where the people around you are evil. Advise them, and bi-idhnillah, you will be saved. The last story I want to touch on, also mentioned in Surah Al-Kahf, shows us the importance of seeking out and actually traveling and going to benefit from those who are learned. And this is also a form of companionship, a form of friendship. Musa alayhi salam was once asked amongst his people, who is the most knowledgeable? And without giving too much thought to it, he said, I am the most knowledgeable. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was not happy with his answer. So he reprimanded Musa alayhi salam and told him that there is one of my pious slaves. You should go out and meet him and learn from him. We all know the story. It's mentioned in great detail. Musa alayhi salam, he goes with one of his boys. It's mentioned it was Yusha ibn Nun. And they travel for a long period of time. What were they traveling for? They were traveling to meet a pious person and to benefit from his knowledge. And this is also a form of companionship, a form of benefit. My beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, as we saw, you could be, or you may have groups like the people of the cave, where you're a closely knit group. make sure your group are from those who are pious. Or you may be from somebody who sees others in the community who are pious and who are not. Stick with those who are pious. And you may be somebody who is tested with a person who is not too practicing. Stick to your principles. And wherever you find the opportunity to go out and to seek a learned person to benefit from their knowledge as well as their companionship, do it, because one of the Anbiya alayhi salatu wassalam was ordered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do that. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, who was the best of creation, he had companions, and he had a very close companion who was Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu. And the Messenger and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes mention of their journey in Hijrah, and he makes special mention of this companionship. إِذْ يَقُولُ لِصَاحِبِهِ لَا تَحْزَنْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَنَا. He tells his companion, the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam tells Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu, don't be sad, Allah is with us. Another Nabi, Musa alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends him to the tyrant Fir'aun. And what does Musa alayhi salam ask for? He asks that his brother accompany him. What is that? That is good companionship. That is being close to people who are good. And most definitely, you will benefit from this good companionship in this world, in the hereafter, and in Jannah. That's why the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam says in a hadith that the example of accompanying a person who is good is like the one who has perfume. Either he'll give you some of that perfume, or he'll sell it to you, or you'll have a good smell. So when you're around good people, you always benefit. And he says the example of the person who accompanies those who are evil is like the one who accompanies an ironsmith. Either he burns your clothes, or the worst is you come out smelling of smoke and all that junk, so to say. In the same way, evil people, you may think that you're holding on to your principles, but at the end of the day, not realizing that they affect you. And one of the easiest acts of worship, especially in our time, is to love your fellow Muslim for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And again, this comes to good companionship, good friendship. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when speaking about those who will be shaded on the Day of Judgment, he says, وَرَجُلَانِ تَحَابَّا فِي اللَّهِ اجْتَمَعَا عَلَيْهِ وَتَفَرَّقَا عَلَيْهِ. Two men, two Muslims, they love each other for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They gathered upon that. So their relationship was not only because of business. It wasn't only because this one wanted something from that one in this world. No, it was for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They gathered on that and they left on that. And the reward for them, one of their rewards is they are shaded on the Day of Judgment where there is no shade. Also, it's mentioned in Sahih Muslim, recorded in a hadith, the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, one day a man went to a village, and in order to visit a brother of his, a Muslim brother of his, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent an angel to ask him, why are you going to this village? Is it for some worldly gain? Why are you going to visit this person? And he says, the only reason I'm going is because I love him for the sake of Allah. So this angel says, I am a messenger, I am an angel from your Lord, and I want to tell you that because you love this man for the sake of Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you. And on the Day of Qiyamah, you find where there is shafa'ah and intercession. Many people will intercede on that day with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as long as they believed, the Anbiya, those who were pious, etc. And it's mentioned also, those who had good friends, they will intercede for one another on the Day of Judgment. And intercession is of different types. It could be for a person to be, for their punishment, for them to come out of the punishment, or for their rank in Jannah to be raised. That's why one of the things the kuffar and those who disbelieved will regret about is they did not have any good friends in this world. فَمَا لَنَا مِنْ شَافِعِينَ وَلَا صَدِيقٍ حَمِيمٍ. Beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, it's extremely important for us to go over the Quran and to benefit from these lessons and to apply them in our lives, to be practical. And it's also extremely important, especially in the day and time we live in, with technology, to see who we accompany, who we listen to, what our children do, and try your best, because there is a great reward, especially in the time of fitna, where you are able to stick to the deen and stick to those who are on the truth. For those few words, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us goodness and make us from those who will intercede for goodness for one another on the day of judgment, and make us from those who love each other for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ameen. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.